Hi, this is Dr. S, and in this episode, I'm going to talk you through and explain the Z model, which is really in three phases of the evidence-based entrepreneurship innovation process. And this is, the Z represents when a venture and an entrepreneur or innovator is still in the startup phase. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So what is a startup? A startup is when an entrepreneur and innovator is seeking a viable, sustainable, and scalable venture or business model. So viable means it works, sustainable means it works over time, and scalable means it can grow to the desired size. Once you've got that figured out, once you've got a business model that works, can work over time, and can scale up to the size that you want, then you graduate from being a startup to an ongoing concern. As you're a startup, your primary purpose is to consistently seek out that viable, sustainable, scalable business model, and that's what the Z model is designed to help you do. The Z model is really broken into three pieces. We got phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and then of course the graduation where you're no longer a startup. So let's walk through each of these different phases. So in phase 1, you have a particular goal, and that's to gain product market fit. This could be product or service market fit. Product and service market fit means that you have a fit between the customer's desired gains or the things that they have pain where they would like that relieved and the offering that you're actually providing. And that this offering delivers on the promise of pain relief or gain creation, and it actually has a product or service that does this, and it does it in a way that is unique or rare enough or something differentiated enough from how they're currently doing it, so that people will actually change their behaviors and choose the offering that you have. Additionally, in phase 1, you're working to develop your team. You're working to understand how this fits with you and whether you want to continue to pursue this sort of thing, which of course is why we use the big idea canvas. Now, at first you don't have an idea, or you may be coming into them, but at first really what the whole idea is to, if you're working with other people, get that team kicked off, get your design thinking process rolling, and get ideation going to generate ideas. You spend time up front thinking about a wide variety of different things. Don't just start with the first thing that comes to mind. Get something, even if it's good, continue to generate different possibilities. Ultimately, you're going to need to focus and decide on an idea, and you'll move forward with that. Then you move through the design thinking process using the big idea canvas, test cards, the value proposition canvas, prototyping, all of these different tools that we have for early stage phase 1 stuff. We go through iterative cycles where we're doing the empathy, we're defining the issue and problem, we're ideating around possible solutions, we're prototyping those offerings and solutions, and then we're testing it in the market. And this is iterative, so we do this multiple times. And we do this multiple times so that we can work to continue to dial in what we know to be true or what we think to be true. And this is where we use hypotheses, we use tests in the marketplace, and we dial this in. And of course, we're using the BIC, so there's those particular questions related to who's the customer, what are their needs, what sort of pains and gains do they have in terms of needs or desires, what sort of offering might deliver on that promise of that you're making to them, how are they doing it now, why is that inadequate, what sort of team would you need to make this sort of thing go forward, and why you, what's so special about you. And ultimately you're getting to that product market fit, a dialed in, tested big idea canvas and value proposition canvas. That moves you on to phase 2. Phase 2 is to prepare to launch and to launch. That's the goal. And so as you can see, there's a variety of things you do in phase 2. You shift to the business model canvas to build out the entire business model because you've got product market fit. BICs relate to the business model canvas. Value proposition canvas relates to the business model canvas. And then you can employ the SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, internal and external analysis to design, prototype, and test the actual business model relative to competition and all of the other external environmental things that you want to pay attention to. You'll want to be able to get your financials squared away, both in terms of sources of financials to get you moving forward, to get to launch, as well as how you will use it pre-launch. And then you want to also do pro formas, what your financials will look like post-launch, at least for a period or two, so a year or two, or whatever makes sense for your particular entity. You'll want to form a legal entity, and then you'll want to get launched. Then, once you've launched, you actually want to run the venture. And running the venture doesn't mean you're not a startup anymore. You're still a startup, but this is actually, you're in the marketplace. So you're selling things, or you're providing products and services, and if you're a social venture or a nonprofit, and you're doing design thinking in real time. You're still building empathy. You're still trying to understand the problem, making sure that, and you're still ideating solutions for different things, but you just happen to be able to do it in real time with real customers now. And you're asking those three critical questions about your venture and your business model. Does it actually work? Is it feasible? Does this thing actually do what it's supposed to do? Is it sustainable? Can we sustain this over time? Is it financially sustainable? Is it humanly sustainable? Is it technologically sustainable, etc.? And finally, can you scale it up to the size you want it to scale up to, which of course means you have to decide how big you want to scale it, and does the model that you've built actually scale up? And so all of that is post-launch stuff. And when you finally have met your phase 3 goal of design and dialing in the viability and sustainability, you know that you are done, you've graduated to an ongoing venture, and then you say bye-bye startup. That is, of course, until you want to take your ongoing concern to the next level, and then you get to be a startup for that component all over again. All right, if you have any questions about the Z model, let us know. We're happy to jump in and talk to you more about it. And we look forward to working with you, moving through all of these different phases.